Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's satsang. Hi. Hello, everyone. So today we have our Shabad by Stephanie. Title is Song of Good Hope. Then we have Michael giving the introduction. And then we have Sadhna ji. And she is her topic is Tulsi Sahib's Bani. Then we'll have short dhyan session. Then we'll play Master's YouTube video, and then we'll do group meditation with love and devotion. Thank you so much. Let's start the satsang. Let's start the Shabad.
We're gonna make it across this river alive. You need to think like a boat and go with the tide. I know where you've been has really left you in doubt of ever finding a harbor, of figuring this out. You're gonna need all the help you can get. So lift up your arms now and reach for it, and reach for it. Take your time, it's not as bad as it seemed, you'll be fine. It's just some rivers and streams in between you and where you wanna be. Watch the signs now, you'll know what they mean. You'll be fine now. Just stay close to me and make good hope walk with you through everything. May the song of good hope walk with you through everything.
God morning, my love family of the saints and masters. So nice to see all of you. Wow, wonderful, wonderful day where we nourish our soul with more godly information and with more love, love and more love. Stephanie, thank you for your beautiful song. It was marvelous. And Stephanie, today she brought with her a guest. His name is Peter. Peter is here, and he's new to the path. He doesn't know about the Sant Mat. So I'm going to do my introduction talk for him to tell him more about this path of love that we are all on. And we're all, once we are blessed with the human body, which is the greatest gift, that we are not a cat or a plant or a tree or um, an insect. We have the human body, and this human body is the greatest gift of God to to a man, to give him the human body, because in this human body we can find the ultimate bliss, happiness, and our higher self as God, as we are all divine on a human experience. We are all divine on a human experience. And we all want to go back to our source, where we all came from. So we go through seeking, and we seek many lives. We seek through religions, we seek through yogas, and we seek through so many ways. And ultimately, when our soul is ready, we graduate religions, and we tap into something that gives us not blind faith like religions gave us before, that if you believe in Christ, you will go to heaven. If you believe in Muhammad, you will go to heaven. If you believe in Buddha, you will go to Buddha lands. But we are put on a path where we have daily experience of the beyond, where we can grow as soul, and whatever Jesus or Buddha experienced, or any saint and master that came on this earth, whatever they experienced when they were alive, we will experience it here. And we will go through these steps where our soul will grow in love, where our soul will grow in love and will ultimately drown in love and become love. And that is what Jesus said in the Holy Bible, be ye perfect as your Father who's in the heavens is perfect. That any human being, whether he is from any country, whether any color, whether he's poor, whether he's rich, does not matter, that anyone who has a human form can grow himself, can connect with the divinity within him, with God within him. As Jesus said, know ye not that you're the temple of the living God, and the Spirit of God dwells in you. So this is the temple of God. And the way to find God inside this temple, which is our higher self, our higher self is God. The way to find God is that we have to go inside. We have to go first, we have to want, we have to seek. As without seeking, then the answers will not come to us. Nature will not provide us the answers. We have to be the seekers after truth. Once we start to seek after truth, then God inside of us, our inner self, will, when we are ready, when the soul is ready, the teacher appears, then our inner self manifests a teacher outside according to our level, according to what we need at the time. And then that teacher will nourish the soul and tell the soul the way how to go inside, how to meditate, what to do in order to grow in love. as love is all the godly qualities of compassion, no criticism, no judgment, forgiveness, patience, perseverance, all these godly qualities. So a teacher will appear in our life and teach us the basis, how to go inside, how to meditate, how to go within. They will give us like a holy mantra so we can control the mind, and they tell us what's good and not what's to avoid on the path, and what not to avoid, and to grow in love. They tell us, no alcohol, no drugs, no meat eating, because these are impediments on the path of love and will only make our soul morbid, heavy, and go down instead of go up. That way we have to develop compassion in our heart to all living things, to all living things, to all animals. So they promote the way of vegetarianism, in which our whole aura will change, and we will become more subtle. A lot of anger will leave us, and our energy will become like the difference between the energy of a lion and the energy of a rabbit. The rabbit is much more peaceful. The same way, we will lose a lot of anger. And when we become vegetarian, our whole aura will change. We will become more subtle, more fine, more refined. And then we can meditate. We can rise up higher. These teachers that come in our life that tell us to go within, they will also teach us about the law of karma. What you sow, so shall you reap, as we are all ruled in this physical plane. In the astral region, the region above, there's a region called the astral plane where the heavens and the hells exist. And then there is the causal plane, the universal mind. In those three regions that are called mental regions, the law of karma rules. What you sow, so shall you reap. They explain to us about the three types of karma from the previous life. Something has been taken. We have had many human lives, and we have created a lot of karma, as karma is only created in the human body. And something is taken out of that karma from the past lives, given to us now, and that is our destiny karma. How long we will live, who our family will be, if we're going to be rich or poor, if we're going to be healthy or sick. That is all, even the number of breaths, that is predestined in our destiny karma. That's called parabola. And there is something called Kariman karma, in which we also, since we have a free will, since the human being has a free will, made in the image of God, in his image made he him, male and female made he them. We are made in the image of God. So we have a free will. So we can create good karma or bad karma. That is why also the saints, they tell us not to create bad karma, to only not to hurt anybody with word, deed, or even thought. That we have to watch our thoughts, because we also create karma when we think. We have to watch our deeds and our actions, and only create good karma. That is what the saints tell us. So anyway, once we start seeking, then automatically a teacher will appear. And when the teacher appears, he opens, if he is a master of the holy light and the holy sound, as all the saints that came, like Jesus and Buddha, they opened the inner eye of their disciple, and they opened the inner ear of the disciple. So now we can start to see, not with those two eyes, but with the eye of the soul. Once the eye of the soul is opened by a perfect master, a master who becomes our friend, because we never met Jesus, we never met Buddha, and a dead master cannot help us. That's why God always manifests himself in the saints and masters that come into this world, and they can teach us, they can give us the fresh message of God, the fresh message of God as taught by all the saints and masters. So if we ever are lucky enough, if our seeking is so intense and we meet a perfect living master and he becomes our friend, He becomes our friend where we can talk to him, where we can talk to him on the phone, meet him in person, have interviews with him, get all our spiritual questions answered. As a perfect master is somebody who has traversed within the inner journey and has reached the highest ultimate level of oneness with God, that his soul merged with the supreme soul, the soul of all souls, and they can claim me and my Father in the heavens are one. A true living saint, which are very, very few in this world, but a true living saint, a genuine one, talks with authority as he speaks according to his experience. And he experiences all the levels of creation as he's talking to us. And he talks with absolute power because he has experience. When somebody experiences something and then talk about it, it comes with power and it goes into the heart of the listener. It catches the ear of the listener. Yet if somebody has never experienced something, never experienced the holy light, never experienced the holy sound and the inner levels and talks about them, then his words are empty. His words just go from one ear and go out of the other ear. So that's why it is different to have to meet a perfect living master who became the embodiment of love as and he does not judge us. He is unconditional love. Even if we are the worst sinner on earth, he will accept us and take us into his heart because he knows that we are caught up, that it is not our fault, that it is just the fault of karma from the past lives. And it is just, we are caught up in something that is called the mind. And he wants to free us from the cycle of birth, suffering, and death. Only a perfect living master can free us from the cycle of birth, living, and death, and going back even to the animal form. So once we meet a perfect living master, we have our journey towards God starts. And we will, even if we don't go back to God in this life, then we will be guaranteed to be given a human body. And they gives us the way, they teach us the way to be forever happy in this world, how to always be smiling, how to be happy and live happily. And how do they do that? They teach us how to go within, how to meditate. And what is meditation? Meditation is the most beautiful thing that also God gave a gift to the human being, as no other species can meditate except the human being. So once we are connected with the inner aspects of creation, as everything that was created came out of the word God. In the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was God. As it says, as St. John in the Bible says, that word God is the holy light and the holy sound. A true living master connects us with the holy light, connects us with the holy sound, and that holy light and holy sound that was created and came out of absolute God will take us back to its source. So we start to ride on that music of God, on the holy light and the holy sound that will nourish our soul. Once we connect daily, they teach us that we have to meditate daily, that the happiness lies within us. So we start to go within ourselves. Our soul starts to be nourished by the holy light and sound, which is food for the soul. So why do we meditate? For so many unlimited reasons, but the main thing is that we develop a relationship with God inside of us. Our higher self is God. We develop a relationship, a very, very intimate relationship with the Lord inside of us. And through meditation, the Lord inside of us will show us that He's with us moment by moment by moment. We will start to see miracles in our life outside. We will start to see miracles in our inner life as we meditate. We will start to experience the holy light and the holy sound. Once we start to experience the holy light and the holy sound, it builds faith in us that this path is a true path, is a true path, not based on a blind faith like the religions. This is something higher than all religion, and it's not a religion, it's just a way of life. It is between you and your inner self, as the outer saint or the outer master is only a reflection of your inner saint. So your devotion will start to grow for your inner saint, the inner God that sits inside of you, the inner Lord. And the journey is within, where we have to remove, with the grace of the Master, all the coverings that cover our soul, like our body, our astral body, our causal body, all the curtains of separation that hold us from the glory of God within us, all our imperfections that come in the form of anger, lust, greed, ego, and attachments. These things have to be polished and purified and 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 replaced with love, the love of God. Slowly, 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 this path, which is the path of patience, that we have to be patient as our inner master polishes us daily as we meditate, even in atmospheres like this, where all meet in the name of the perfect saints, all meet in the name of God. What is this satsang? We call it satsang, which is the company of truth, where we all read from the teachings of the saints and masters, from the books of the saints of masters, people who became perfect. And we where in the Holy Bible it says, where two or more gather in my name, there I am. So we gather in the name of the saints. So many people here that are sitting among us came from different perfect masters. And when we all gather in the name of the perfect masters, then they are with us. Where two or more gather in my name, there I am. Then the love of the Lord is felt. The love of the Lord is felt. The love of the Lord is experienced. So it is also, this gathering is also food for the soul. It is also like meditation, exactly, where we get the benefit of meditation while listening to speakers that come here, that have been on the path for very, very long time, and can tell us from their experience, from the speakers here in this company of truth. They have experienced the path for many years. They know the pitfalls. They know what to avoid, and they know how they can advise us on how to grow on this path of love, how to grow daily on this path of love, how God inside of us has unconditional love, and no matter what, it is like the love of the mother to a child. The mother never, when she loves her child, she forgives her child. Her child might be mean to her, he might say something bad to her, but he's a child, so has unconditional love for the child. So imagine, they say, the love of God inside of us for us. He created all the mothers and all the fathers, and that love is like billions and billions of moms and dads. That love cannot be described. Saint Kabir says that if all the oceans of the world become ink, and all the trees of the world become pen, and all the earth becomes like a piece of paper, then that love of God for us cannot be described or written down by by that ink of the oceans, all the oceans. It cannot even describe. So there's something inside of us very, 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 very beautiful, very unexplainable, and cannot be found in the outside world. That in the outside world, the saints and masters have taught us that all the pleasures they come with a price of suffering. Any pleasure in this world has a suffering behind it. And they tell us that the most important, beautiful bliss and enjoyment comes from within, that everything comes from within us. So we start to traverse inside, and we connect with that source of divinity inside of us in the form of the holy light, the holy sound, and the inner master that loves us unconditionally. And we start to relax in that love on daily basis. We start to meditate, go within, drink the manna, drink the water of life, and eat the manna of life. The food of the soul comes from meditation. Then our outer life will change. Slowly, 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 our anger will drop, our attachments, all the suffering agencies that cause us to suffer in this world, slowly, slowly, they will be cleaned out by this most powerful creative power. It's powerful and it's live. It's live inside of us. The word God. And that word God will just polish us, cleanse us, and bring that happiness that we experience in meditation. It will bring it to our outer world. We will start to be happy. We will start to be happy outside and inside. This is the path of happiness, the path of bliss, the path of joy, the path of first hand experience. 1 ounce of practice is worth tons of theory. We might read books for ages and ages and ages, but if we don't experience what is written in the books, then it is not right. It is not real. We have not tasted the essence of what's in that book. So when imperfect master appears in our life, we are the luckiest human beings on the face of this planet because we touch divinity directly and we live with that divinity. Once we meet a true perfect living master who selflessly, without no charge, gives us the method, teaches us the way how to go within, and describes to us the inner regions, all the inner regions of creation, and just becomes our friend. We touch that divinity, we live in that divinity, and life becomes totally different. When we have when we meet a perfect living master and he comes in our life, he changes us completely. All our sanskar karmas, our attitude. If we have like a bad attitude about life, we are always depressed, and because we had bad experiences from the previous lives, we carry with us now. That would totally change. Our sanskar karmas will change, and happiness will start to sprout in our heart. Life cannot be described. If I can tell you how my life was before I met my first teacher was Santakar Singh. The first saint I met was Santakar Singh, and he just changed my life completely, and gave me hope that I will be forever happy. And not just hope, but the experience of that happiness, the experience of that bliss that comes to us once we meet a divine being, once we meet a divine being who walks on earth among us and gives us the fresh message of God that cannot be described. And in my spiritual journey, my inner self, my God self, after Santakar Singh left the body a few years later, I met Ishwar Puri ji, who lived close to me, and I could go see him on monthly basis, and sometimes more, and sit in the atmosphere and the aura of love of a living saint. As saints, they just emit love. They have an aura of love that cannot be described. It even goes down miles in the earth, that aura of love. And then when we sit in that aura of love, it cannot be described how it is transforming. It is totally transforming. It transforms us. It's like an alchemist energy. It transforms us from crows into swans. That all our ugly self, our lower self, our horrible self, slowly, slowly will start to change. And it starts to change in an accelerated way when we are in the company of a living saint. Acceleration. There is an acceleration of an outpouring of that love that we start to swim in that love. When the master looks at us, oh my God, that and our eyes meet the eyes of a perfect one, that cannot be described. That's just an outpour of divinity, especially if the saint is a total saint, that he has reached the highest levels of perfection. Oh my God, that cannot be described. That's like an infusion of love in our soul that is just like our soul feels like flying. Our soul is directly into bliss. Our soul at that moment is with God in the kingdom of God. It cannot be described. The drishti, they call it a drishti when a perfect living saint looks at us. So, yes, this path is the path of happiness. And this path is not a cult or anything like that, because you can leave it anyway. You can try it. You can try it, and it's a path between you and your inner self. The outer master appears as a reflection of your inner master. But who is the true master? That's the master inside of you. For him, the master inside of us, God inside of us, we do all this devotion, all this love and devotion. It's for the highest master, which is the master inside of us. So the outer master just awakens our inner master. Once our inner master is awakened, then we can have that permanent relationship, forever relationship with our true being, which is God. So we are God. We have lost our awareness. We have we and now on this path we regain our awareness, and it's a relationship between our soul and the oversoul inside this temple, the human body, where we nourish this love, where we make this love grow with the grace of the Master and with our daily practices of meditation on the holy light and the holy sounds. There is hundreds and hundreds of types of meditations that people experience outside. However, the way of the saints and masters, they connect us with the highest type of meditation that leads us back home to our true self, to our to the kingdom of God that is inside of us. And that is the path, the light, the holy light and the holy sound. They connect us with the holy light, the holy sound. They open our inner ear and they open our inner eye. And that holy light and sound, as we grow in God, it becomes thousands of suns and moons and stars that cannot be described. The holy light cannot be described because ultimately we reach levels beyond the mind. And the word, we cannot describe it with words because it is beyond the mind. We can only taste it, like we taste a fruit, but we cannot describe the taste. We can say, oh, it's sweet, it's yummy, no, but really the essence of that taste cannot be described. The same thing, the inner experiences with God and the kingdom of God. And they also say that the saints say, and you will experience it when you go on the path, that there are sounds inside of us that become flute and org and bagpipe, bells, all types of, there's a holy band inside of us. This holy band can also be experienced in this life as we polish our mirror. But no matter what, whether we experience, we will experience the most important thing, which is love. Love and love. Love. Love holds everything. When we sit, we relax in our own self. We relax in God. We relax in our own divinity inside of us. Then that feeling of love comes. What else is needed than love? Love is the most important thing. It doesn't matter what we see, doesn't matter what we hear. Those are secondary things. The most important thing is the love. And what is the inner master? The inner master is love. What is God inside of us? Pure love. Purest love, the most distilled love, the purest form of love that is inside of us. We will go through these levels of love slowly, 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 until we merge with that divinity inside of us that cannot be described. We reach levels where we become one with God. Me and my Father in the heavens are one. That is in our birthright. If you have a human body, it's in your birthright, but you have to have one thing. You have to be a seeker after truth. You have to want this. Once you want to meet God, then God will arrange the way for you. Love will arrange the way for you. The light and the sound will arrange everything for you. The whole way inside will be arranged by the God inside of us, the inner master inside of us. And he will manifest, that inner master inside of us will manifest teachers, saints that will come in our life to tell us the way, to show us the way, and then we will experience it inside. Let me read to you just one poem from Hafiz, from Hafiz, and it just says, God just came near. No one in need of love, no one in need of love can sit with my verse for an hour and then walk away without carrying golden tools and feeling that God just came near. This poem is what satsang is. I will read it again. God just came near. No one in need of love can sit with my verse for an hour and then walk away without carrying golden tools and feeling that God just came near. So this is why we come to satsang and we meet all here in we call it the circle of lovers, the circle of lovers, where we meet all together in the love of God. God is with us because we're meeting in His name, and we feel Him near us, in us, with us. So this is, I hope I explained to you. Now I welcome my dear sister, Sadhana. We have to unmute her. Okay. Okay, cool. You're unmuted.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes. Welcome. Nice to see
Greetings to
you.
all.
So nice to see you. We missed you.
So happy to be. My
Yeah.
pleasure to be with you all. Okay, so today I'm taking Bani by Saint Tulsi Sahib. This Bani is, first let me tell you a bit about Tulsi Sahib. Tulsi Sahib is the same who initiated Swamiji Maharaj of Agra, and Swamiji Maharaj then revived Sant Mat as Radha Swami Marg and Sant Mat both. So he's one of the oldest saint in the lineage of Sant Mat, Tulsi Sahib. Tulsi Sahib was actually born in Satara in Maharashtra and in a princely state. And his father, it is also said that Guru Govind Singh Ji, the 10th Sikh Guru, gave Naam to his Dada, his grandfather. And that's how that lineage is continuing from the Dasham Patshahis, the Sikh Gurus, to Tulsi Sahib, and then onwards to Swamiji Maharaj and so forth. So Tulsi Sahib was since beginning childhood very inclined towards spirituality, and his father wanted him to stay at home and get married and look after the worldly affairs, which was not to be. So he left his home, the princely state, and came to the northern part of India, which is Uttar Pradesh in UP, Hathras. So Hathras is the place where he finally stayed. And there in Hathras, there was this Muslim person by the name Sheikh Taki, who had put his tent in front of Tulsi Sahib's tent. And he was on his way back from Hajj, from Makkah. And so thinking that I have done this pilgrimage, he put his tent right in front of Tulsi Sahib. And so Tulsi Sahib, this Bani that I am taking up today is the Bani. Tulsi Sahib is spoken for Sheikh Taki. So name of the person for whom this Bani is spoken is Sheikh Taki. And but Tulsi Sahib's language basically is Hindi and mixed Marathi. But this particular Bani is in Hindi and Urdu, mixed Hindi and Urdu. That's because he was speaking for Sheikh Taki. He befriended Sheikh Taki. And when saints befriend someone, they come down to their level. So that's how Tulsi Sahib is spoken this Bani. And it is said that Sheikh Taki was one of the best disciples of Tulsi Sahib. Later, he became Tulsi Sahib's disciple. So that's the Bani I am taking today. So it goes like this. Dil ka hujra saaf kar, jana ke aane ke liye, aur dhyan gairon ka utha, uske bithane ke liye. Now it says in this Bani, he says that if you want the Lord to come and make your heart as his home, if you want to be one with the Lord, then you have to cleanse your inner self completely. So the hujra, the word that he used is the hujra is the living room of a saint, like we call it a dera in Punjabi or kutia in Hindi. So if you want that this heart, or you should become the dera of the Lord, you become one with the Lord, you want to call him, then you have to completely cleanse your inner self. The question is, how do we clean our inner self? We know how to clean our surroundings, we know how to clean our outside, but how to clean our inner selves? So saints tell us there are 3 potent ways that you can clean your own self. So number 1 is, as Michael just mentioned, that we have various kind of karmas. We have sanchit karma, which at the time of initiation, saint completely burn it. Then we have the second, prarabdha karma, the portion because of which we have got this human body. These prarabdha karmas we have to undergo, because if saint touch this, then this body will finish. So we have to completely undergo the prarabdha karmas. Then the third is the kriyaman karma, which is we are doing right now. So saints tell us that we have to obey the master, the instructions, and have our kriyaman karmas according to master's will, master's instructions. So clearly they tell us about our diet, have a very vegetarian diet, and they tell us non-alcoholic, and they tell us stuff that have your own, earn your bread yourself, and do not break anybody's heart. That's very important. Do not break anybody's heart, because in every heart there is the same Lord. So if we align ourselves to this, naturally our cleaning starts inside. So that's one way. Now, out of the 3 potent way, this is aligning, having your kriyaman karmas as per saints' instructions. So explicitly and implicitly follow your guru. Now, the second is how to clean your karmas, is that simran, constant remembrance of the Lord. At the time of initiation, the Satguru, the Guru, gives you certain naam. Now, recite these naam. These are not just names. These are charged words. On Simran, we have had many satsangs. This constant remembrance is very, very important. They say, when they give naam, when a Sant or Satguru gives naam, it is not just the naam, it is the vital life force that the Sant Satguru gives it to its disciple. There is a couplet which says that Janam Maran dono mein nahi jan upkari aaye, Jiya daan de bhakti layan harso nain milaye. That they are, the gurus are beyond death and beyond birth. They are the benefactor of humanity. They come here and then they give their life force, vital life force to you when they initiate you. How they give their vital life force? Because they have done sadhana themselves. For hours together, they sit and they do meditation. So once they do that meditation, the charging, that the power comes in those 5 words. And when they, at the time of initiation, give you that naam, that charging comes to you. So these are not mere words. If you recite these words, your first thing that happens is your cleaning starts, your inside. And we may wonder, what is this cleaning we are talking about? We have impressions from ages. We are in this particular physical birth. Maybe in the last birth, we were something else. We were something else from various species. They say we have 8.4 million species. So this human birth is the crown of creation. So when we have taken human birth, we have lots and lots of impressions, lots and lots of karmas. So they get cleaned by constant remembrance. And the third potent way, they say, is the contemplation, the meditation. When we meditate and when flashes of light come on our third eye, the Daswa Dwar, the Shiv Netra, Agya Chakra, whatever you may call, that's when our cleaning starts and the transformation inside us starts. So that's how the cleaning happens. So Saint Tulsi Sahib tells Sheikh Taki that you clean your inside completely. And then what you do, suppose we have cleaned our room, but the room we have made somebody else sit. It's not vacant. Then also Lord cannot come. So it says, Dhyan gero ka utha. Take your attention away from everybody else. When you lodge me in, then you dislodge everybody else. That they beautifully put it, that Sachi Preet, the true love, Sachi Preet tum sang jodi. The true love, I have attached myself with you. Tum sang jodi or ran sang todi. When I have attached myself to you, I have broken my love with everybody else. They also say God is a jealous lover. So you completely, when you do that, completely take attention away from everybody else, then that Lord will come. So where is our attention? Who is this Gad? Who is this stranger? This stranger, one is a creator and one is creation. Tulsi Sahab here mentions that all the creation is stranger. Where we all the time are engaged in the creation and not the creator. So often we presumed our happiness lies in acquiring wealth, our happiness lies in having great careers, and our happiness lies in wealth, amassing wealth. But we've realized that we do that. At the end, it only leads to frustration, suffering. So Tulsi Sahab tells Saint Taki that you take your attention away from everything else and keep it only on the Lord. So that's the first verse. It is also said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji, so those who are pious and pure inside, they are the ones who are going to see God. Then Guru Arjan Dev Ji says in Sukhmani Sahib, Naam Japat Koti Surya Ujjara, that when you recite name, your own light, the body, your own light is of millions of suns. That's what you will get to see. And in Bible, it is said, if thine eye be single, thy whole body would be full of light. So this is what Tulsi Sahib is also telling Sheikh Taki, that you take your attention away from the creation completely, cleanse yourself inside by these three potent ways. And that's when you are a candidate for Lord to come inside and make your heart as his home. So that's the first verse. And then the second is, I would like to mention, even Kabir says, Kabira man nirmal bhaya, jaise Ganga neer, aur pache pache hari fire, kahat Kabir Kabir. That means Kabir Das says that when I became pious and pure from inside, jaise Ganga, like the water of river Ganges is considered very pure because it remains unadulterated. If you keep it in a bottle also, it remains unadulterated for months together. So they say, like the water in the Ganges, when my heart became very pure, it's just a simile that is used, when I became very pious and pure from inside, then what happened is that the Lord started roaming behind me, taking my name, Kabir, Kabir. I didn't have to even call him. He was behind me. So if you completely cleanse yourself, that's when the Lord, you become a candidate, and that's when the Lord comes. Then he says to Sheikh Taki, that chashme dil se dekh yahan, jo jo tamashe ho rahe, dil sita kya kya hai tere, dil satane ke liye. That if you look through your heart's eye, why heart's eye? Because if you are just looking through these eyes, and when we look at whatever is happening outside, we engage ourselves completely. We get lost in the creation, we get lost in the exhibits, we get lost in whatever is happening. And these days, we have so much to engage in. We have entertainment, we have all kinds of foods available, and we have all kinds to see. So he says that if you just be a witness through your heart's eye, I mean, just be a witness to whatever is happening around, then you will see that all this is there to lure you and engage you in the creation and then lead you to frustration and despair. So he says that whatever is happening, there's so much happening and so much is available. So you just look at it as a witness and see that all this is there just to engage you and just to make you a prisoner here. Next he says, एक दिल लाखों तमन्ना और उस पे और ज्यादा हवस, फिर ठिकाना है कहाँ उसके ठिकाने के लिए. Now, what he's saying, that root cause of all our desires, we have one heart and millions of desires. And even if a desire gets fulfilled, immediate reaction is to have more. You know, this mind is never satisfied. It wants to have more, whatever. So he says the root cause of all our desires is our 5 vices: lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. So he says we have all of them. And what happens is, through the senses, the mind is completely taken in by the senses, and then it results in millions of desires. First is lust itself. Lust, normally we relate it to sex, but saints have given a very different definition to काम, the lust. They say, काम काम सब कोई कहे, काम न छीने कोई, जेती मन की कामना काम कहावे सोई. That means we keep saying lust, lust. We don't actually understand it. All that comes, all that we think of, all that, any desire about whatever, because desire is, because of our mind, it needs pleasure, it seeks pleasure, it has this innate characteristic of seeking pleasure all the time. So any desire that comes is for pleasure seeking. So any pleasure that we are seeking, whether it is taste, whether it is listening to a great music, whether it is watching a movie, or it is to do with anything else, everything comes under lust. So that means we are so much, and every time if we introspect and see, we are seeking pleasure in various forms. Sometimes in very sattvic form, we are seeking pleasure. So that also is calm, that also is lust. It is just one vices. Then there are 4 others. So every vice, as long as we have these vices, related to each vice, there are millions of desires, and desires will come. He says, when there are so many desires and there's so much, then where do you have time that the Lord can come and sit inside? So saints tell us, how do we get rid of these vices? Now they tell us potent 2 ways to get rid of these vices. Number 1 is that we contemplate on the name, meditate. Moment we start seeing, we come to the 3rd eye, we leave the body, come to the 3rd eye, the Agya Chakra, and we are able to see light, automatically the all these 5 vices, they start going low and low in us. This transformation happens very slowly. It doesn't happen over time, over a day or 2. It happens over years. That when you contemplate, when you think, recite, this happens. Second is that Maharaji gives a very good example, that if there is a dark room and you want to take the darkness away, and you will start taking that one handful, I'll keep it out, one handful I'll keep it out, you'll never be able to take darkness out. However, if you light a lamp, a small lamp, darkness automatically vanishes from the room. So he says, what you need to do is, you need to light a lamp. Lamp of what? Lamp of love for Sadhguru. So when that lamp is ignited, automatically, we do not even get to know, but that love burns all that you are not. So that lamp, the love for Sadhguru happens by the mercy and grace of Sadhguru. When that love enters, the drishti of Sadhguru enters us, it completely the lover, this disciple can see love in action. It transforms us completely. So it says, these are the two ways. Either you sit, contemplate, and take the vices slowly, slowly away, or be at the doorstep of the master for love to infuse into you, for love to come into you. And moment that ignites the love for Sadhguru, then once it ignites, it goes on and on. So he says that do that and take the vices away. Once the vices are away, then all related desires go away. And that's what happens. Then in the next verse, he says, Nakli mandir masjidon mein jaye sad afsos hai, kudrati masjid ka sakin dukh uthane ke liye. Now, Tulsi Sahib is hinting and throwing light at the severity of our situation. He says, look, we have so many vices, so many desires. Besides that, the creation has so much to offer that we get engaged into. He says that with all this, if at all it comes to us that I need to find the Lord, then what we do is we go to the man-made places of worship. We go to temples, we go to churches, we go to synagogue, we go to gurudwaras. It says it is a pity that we then go to the man-made places of worship. Instead, the natural place of worship is this body. This body is the place where the Lord resides. So he says it is a pity if you are going to all these, because Kudrati Masjid ka Sahi, the resident of this particular masjid. Masjid is talking because he's talking to Sheikh Taki, that the resident, the indweller here is the Lord. So when you go outside to the places of worship, that only leads to heartaches, that only leads to frustration, that only leads to suffering, because saints clearly tell us, whosoever has seen, has been with God, has got it inside. The kingdom of God is inside this body. It is not outside of it. So then he says, Kudrati Kabe ki tu mehrab mein sun gaur se, aa rahi hai dhur se sada, tere bulane ke liye. He says, if in this natural place of worship, that the human body is the natural place, this is where the kingdom of God is, that if here it is divided in two parts, beneath till the eyes it is one part, and beyond the eyes it is one part. So beyond the eye, this is dome shaped, and looking at this dome shape, what did we do? We created all our places of worship outside as dome shaped. A temple has a dome shaped, Gurdwara is dome shaped, most of the masjids are dome shaped. So they say what we have done is we have just imitated it, and we are looking for the Lord outside, wherein this is the actual dome shaped actual worship where the kingdom of God is. So when you come at the level of the eyes where the Agya Chakra is, that's where you will get God. So he says that is Kudrati Kaaba, it's natural Kaaba, it's a natural masjid, natural mosque. Here in the dome-shaped part, that is the third, is referring to the third eye, the Agya Chakra. If you listen with intent, with all your attention, you will see that there is coming a celestial music, a music which is coming from where? From eternity. This music is only coming from eternity. For what? It is coming to call you back to your own place. If this was your place, you would have never died here. We live here for a certain stipulated number of years only. That means this is not our own house. Our own place is somewhere else, the totality of consciousness or Sachkhand or whatever. So from eternity, that celestial music is continuously coming, and it is only coming for you to go back home. And God has done this mercy on us that put this music all the time. And when we go, when we listen to it with our complete intent, we, with the help of that Shabad, with the help of that Dhun, we can reach the totality of consciousness. Next he says, क्यों भटकता फिर रहा तू तलाशे यार में, रास्ता शारग पे है दिलवर पे जाने के लिए. He says, why are you wandering in search of a beloved outside in the world? Because the road to the Lord is, he tells very clearly, tells the address, how one has to go. He said Shaharag. Now Shaharag is the, there are two tunnels. Those of you who've done a bit of yoga would know it, that there are two tunnels on the torso. One is Ingala and one is Pingala. So these Ingala and Pingala, if you just take a rubber band and put it like this, and if I twist it 5 times like this, so every twist is an energy center, which is our chakras. So down in the Mooladhar is the first chakra, then above is the Swadhisthana chakra, then next is the Manipurak chakra, then at the heart is the Anahat chakra, at the throat is the Vishuddhi chakra, and sixth is the Agya chakra. He says, so this Ingala and Pingala goes till this point and it finishes here, and in between there is a tunnel which is known as Shushumna Nadi, Shushumna tunnel, Sharag. So that Sharag, so when the vital force passes through that tunnel, that's when one is able to completely leave the body and move ahead. So the journey starts there. So he says that is the path, the Sushumna, the Sharag is the road to go to the beloved. That's where your beloved is sitting. Why are you wandering here outside in the world? You are not going to get your beloved. If you want to go, take this route. And then he tells the address also. So clearly, saints have done that. Next he says, Murshide Kamil se mil, Sidak or Saburi se taki. He says, Sheikh Taki, you meet your master. First you have a master and meet your master with faith and love and content, sincerity. So if you have sincerity and devotion towards your master, and if you meet him like that, then next is Jo tujhe dega fahm shaharag pe jaane ke liye. Who will tell you the road to how to the address that I have just told you, Shaharag. He will tell you the secret as to how to go to that Shaharag, that road that you need to take. He will give you the secret. So that's the secret. If you want to have, then you have your Satguru Murshide Kamil and meet him with utmost sincerity and utmost faith. And that's when you. Now, over here, saints have emphasized patience a lot. Mostly what happens is when we try to understand this, get inspiration and sit, what we see is darkness. And we do it for some time and then leave it. Saints tell us that patience is the virtue that you need to have. Maharaj used to quote that धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए और माली सींचे 100 गड़ा ऋतु आए फल होए. That means gradually, slowly and slowly, everything happens on this path. The gardener, he puts 100 pots of water in the garden, but it's only when the climate is correct, the fruit blossoms, the flower blossoms. So he said the fruit come only when the climate is right, even when the gardener keeps giving water to the plants for hundreds of pots. So he said, that's what happens. You keep nurturing, and when the time comes, with patience, you be at it steadfast on the path, that you will get Shaharag and you will go further ahead. Next it says, Goshe batin ho kushada, jo kare kuch din amal. He said, all these talk that I'm talking to you, this will get revealed only when you follow it. Because if you don't follow, if you have the prescription with you and you keep it in the Almirah, it's not going to work any which way. So he says that all this talk that I am saying, I am speaking to you, this will reveal itself, the internal, the kingdom of God will reveal itself to you if you follow it with sincerity. And then he says, La ilaha Allahu Akbar pe jaane ke liye. That Lord, because Muslims, it is Allah, So if you want to meet the Allah, since Sheikh Taqi had come from, he was on his way back from Hajj. So he says, if you really want to meet your Allah, you want to go there, then all this that I've just spoken to you, you follow it. It's only when you follow and remain steadfast with patience, then you will see it. The last he says, Ye sada tulsi ki hai, amil amal kar dhyan de. Kun Quran mein hai likha Allahu Akbar ke liye. He said, this is Ye Sada, this Bani is Tulsi Sahib's Bani. And he says that Amil is the one who follows the disciple, and Amal is that if you follow it, the disciple needs to follow it. This is the Bani that I have spoken. And now the disciple needs to completely follow it. If you follow it, then it is also written, Kun is the Shabad, in Muslim language, it's kun. Quran, it's in their holy book, that in Quran also this kun, the Shabad is written. So if you actually want to go to the Allah, you want to meet the Allah, Sheikh Taqi, all you need to do is, which I just told you, that follow this and then sit, meet with your master with sincerity, utmost sincerity, be on the path, steadfast, and then move ahead, and you will meet the Lord one day. So this is about Tulsi Sahib's Bani, which I have taken today on Sheikh Taqi. That's where it finishes. And I would like to finish that all that masters are, they complete in themselves. We are complete. And from this completion, what comes is also complete. And this is the shlok that I'm going to speak now. So the meaning is that everybody in themselves, and that's what the Lord has made man in his own image, means the same thing, that what Lord has characteristics, same everything, we too have it. So they say, Puna madaha, Puna midam, Punat Puna mudachyate, Punasya Puna madai, Puna mevai vashishyate. So this is where I complete. Thank you all, and I pray to our masters to give us strength to be on the path, steadfast, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, dear sister Sadhana. That was a beautiful, beautiful, powerful, wonderful talk. And I hope it answered some of Peter's question, our guest, Peter. I hope if you have any question, Peter, you can ask, and we will try to answer you. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself, and we can answer your questions. But anyway, this path is such a beautiful path that it just a path of happiness. All what we have to do is just relax in God, close our eyes, and experience all the bliss inside of us, and not worry about anything, as the King of Kings, the creator of all the show, is inside of us, and he's taking care of us moment by moment on our journey of path to our true home. That at some point it will just happen that we will reach our destination. We are on the train now, and we just have to relax and enjoy our ride towards our true home. And at some point, we're just gonna, all of us, we're just that have a perfect master are gonna reach our destination. We're gonna be with each other in bliss, in love, experiencing oneness, individuality and oneness at the same time, as Master says. So now we're gonna play, we'll meditate for 5 minutes, and then afterwards I'll play our Holy Father Ishwar Puri Ji, and I'm sure more words of wisdom, more words of kingdom of God, and God will come towards us from his holy mouth. So I hope Peter listens also to that. Okay. Thank you so much, dear sister.
Today we are going to have an informal get-together. We are going to share experiences, do meditation, and get to know each other better. First of all, I would like to know how many of you believe that you have been here in a past life and have met a master. Lots of people like that. How many of you believe that you have in a past life met the great master? I am in very good company. Thank you. Thank you. Today is the 23rd anniversary of initiation of the first person that Great Master directed me to initiate in this country. And that person happens to be here. That person knew me in her past life and my present life. That's a good link. And therefore, when she saw me, when she was just a teenager, she almost recognized me at that time, and I recognized her. That's a very amazing thing. It happened. There was a huge gap of several years before the second person was initiated by me under direction of Great Master. I would like to introduce that person to you, who was an important BB who took care of Great Master in a past life, and she happens to be here in a new American body. And her name is Michelle Thompson, sitting right here. Please show your face. Get up, please. Her story is very simple. I had doubt if she could be still the same person. Though I felt that she looks very familiar, her behavior is familiar. But the old BB who was in the Dera with the Great Master, she loved me a lot, I knew that. And she used to work in the kitchen also there, and she had amazing experiences, spiritual experiences. I will share with you sometime. But towards the last part of her life, she came and stayed with me and then died there. Before that, she was up in a hill station called Shimla in India. And there she invited two of my sisters, my younger sisters, to come and spend a few days with her. My two sisters, Rama and Chandar, that's their name. They went up to Shimla to spend a few days with the BB. She was very old at that time. And she offered them tea and some cookies, those kind of cookies which you have, those long ones with cream in between. I don't know what they call it, cream wafers, or what do you call them? Wafer cookies. And when she took them out from a box and put on a plate, that old lady began to arrange them in a very strange order, like a cyclical order, to make like the sun and rays of the sun. These two girls, my sisters, were surprised, why is she doing this? We are just going to eat them up anyway. Why is she decorating them on the plate? But anyway, they thought it was very odd why she did that. And they came back. They didn't tell anybody of this experience. So many years later, I meet this girl in this country. She's keen to go to India, talks of Indian food which she likes. And I said I might take her, maybe my mother can recognize her, who was also a good friend of that old lady. When we went there, my sisters offered her tea and opened up a box of cookies. And this girl began to arrange them on the plate exactly in the same way. They did not need any more proof. because it's so extraordinary, they had not told anybody about it. And why would this girl, young girl coming from America, go and do the same thing which that old lady had done? That little thing was good enough for them. I was also struck by that experience, but still had little skepticism. One can never be sure, our mind is like that. But then she met my mother. And my mother held her hand and said, it's the same hand. And she remembered her from that. They had a conversation of the good old days when they used to meditate together. So it was a very strange experience for me that how could a lady who worked with great master, made great spiritual progress, which I knew about, should come to America and be born here as a young girl in a household in which they were all non-vegetarians. And she was the only vegetarian child right from the beginning. They tried to feed her meat, she wouldn't take it. So she was a little different from others. And why did that happen? So this really created a little bit of questioning in my mind. How did great master decide to put her here? Then I realized that she herself wanted to come. She herself decided she need not have come. She need not have been reborn. She decided to come because she thought that this great master had made a statement that the axis of spirituality will shift to America. And one day there will be more spiritual masters, more spiritual growth in the United States of America than anywhere else in the world. He made these statements more than 60, 70 years ago. And he repeated them in several letters he wrote to American disciples of his. Indeed, I came to this country mainly for that reason, that the great master said that the spirituality is going to move to this country. I better go quickly and get a ringside seat to see the show. And that's why I'm here. But the fact she wanted to come because of the axis of spirituality changing here brought her here. But I said, how did great master decide where she should be born? Why should she be born in a household where people, although interested in spiritual disciplines, were not vegetarian, were not following the kind of lifestyle that this BB had followed and was following even in the new birth here. And then I realized that the great master went to an engineering college. He did not know many Western names. As a human being, he studied in college, became an engineer. But he went to study in an engineering college called the Thompson Engineering College in Roorkee in India. He knew the word Thompson. I thought that must be the reason. She was born in Thompson family. So something somehow sometimes looks bizarre that such things can happen. But things do happen, and since so many of you raised hands, I thought you would like to hear this story. And I know that many of you I had known earlier, and not only this girl. And therefore it's a great joy to reconnect with you once again. Another great disciple of the great master came from the United States, and his name was Dr. Julian Johnson. He wrote several books also. You might have seen those books. A Johnson name became familiar to the great master because he was a good disciple of his. Very, very successful disciple. I knew Julian Johnson. I was much younger than him, but we became friends. We used to walk together up to the river Beas in India, and we used to share information. When Julian Johnson saw that many of the disciples of great master do very extensive, serious meditation out in the caves. They dig out caves so that there is no disturbance. He himself, the American disciple, dug a cave on the bluffs of the river Beas, a beautiful cave, and would go and meditate for long hours. I went with him sometimes and saw the cave. I sat in that cave sometimes. After he passed away, I sat myself to try see if that cave has some special vibrations, so I could take advantage of them. Of course, the real cave is inside us, where we are supposed to sit. The outside cave was merely an excuse. But the Johnson name was well known, so there was another girl who came to the great master after much tribulation, after meeting very strange kind of psychic and spiritual experiences. And that girl came, and her name was Elizabeth, and the last name was Bruce. Bruce is the township where we got a house. There's strange coincidences in the names. That Elizabeth Bruce should come as a disciple of Great Master, and Great Master recommended that she is single, and Julian Johnson was single. Why don't they get married? And they got married in the Dera, and she became Mrs. Johnson. Her desire to serve the Master, like the other BBs in India, was very strong. So there was no doubt that she would come back again to this part of the world and come back probably in a Johnson family. So that girl, who was an American girl, went to India, got initiated, is back again, and again came in a Johnson family, and happens to be present here today. But I'd like to introduce to you Anne Johnson. Will you please rise and show your face? And she has still the great desire to be a BB, like anyone else, and take care of the Master, like the BBs did before. And I'm sure her wishes will be fulfilled. The Great Master makes sure of that. Why am I sharing these stories? I've never shared them before. I have a number of other people who are sitting here. I could tell stories about them. And I see them and I recognize them. And that's amazing experience for me, to be able to see that people who I had to work hard to get an immigrant visa to come to this country, and they came just by rebirth. they just avoided all the immigration formalities. How many of you have come here today from outside of the United States? Can you raise your hands, please? Well, because you have come so far away, I would like to invite you, who just raised your hands, to a special luncheon with me today. When we break for lunch, we'll set up a small lunch room at the back, and people who come from outside of this country, I'd like to meet them separately at lunch today. So you're most welcome for that lunch. How many of you are above 90 years of age? Here is one gentleman. He has come all the way from Colorado at age 91 to attend. So Leon Ponchet will also be my guest at today's lunch. And I have to request one other person to join me for lunch, and two other persons to join me for lunch, who's sitting in front. Peggy Newman and Jewel Hawkins. These two ladies, one is year and myself, we are a sandwich is 1 year apart. I didn't know that. They told me. They told me that we three are 1 year apart from each other in our 80s. And therefore, we should stay like a sandwich and go home together. I would like to invite these two ladies also to join me for lunch today. Thank you very much. I was talking to you yesterday, last night, that we are recirculating. Our souls are all longing for fulfillment. It's the natural desire of a soul, of the spirit, of consciousness per se, sitting inside us, to long for fulfillment. The fulfillment is to become what it is. That means full, to become total, to not be separate. The separation is creating a painful situation for the soul. Unfortunately, the soul has found its companionship with the mind, which was given to it only as an accessory to help it. The mind was provided as an equipment to consciousness or soul to be used for creating different kind of experiences so that it would have a great time to set up a great show and to enjoy it. That's what the mind was given to the soul for. The mind and soul are not the same thing. Soul is our reality. Soul is immortal. Soul had no birth and no death. The mind has a birth and death. The mind has a certain lifespan. Soul has no lifespan. So when a soul is granted the company of a mind, the idea is that the mind can create spatial and time experiences. That means it can spell out an experience which can be generated in no time and make it an experience of eons and centuries and eternity. That's the capacity of the mind. It's a very great capacity. To be able to make an experience of no time, no space, zero time, zero space, and to be able to expand it and create past, present, and future is a very big capacity. Not only that, the mind has the capacity to generate language for communication. The mind has the capacity to use logic, to reason out, to come to conclusions by rationalizing. These are very big qualities. All these qualities have been given to the life force, the spirit, the soul, in order to have a grand experience. That's what we are supposed to be here for. And the mind in turn has used other resources also given to it, like the sense perceptions, so that what it creates in time and space can be perceived by the soul and can be experienced by the soul in terms of different perceptions through divided means of perception. The mind can perceive anything in one go, but it divides itself into separate sense perceptions. Seeing is separated from hearing. Hearing is separate from touching. Smelling is separated. All these different sense perceptions are created so that the show can be enjoyed to its utmost. That's the whole purpose of creation, to have a temporary experience through the mind and the senses. And then to top it all, we covered in a physical body, a material body that generates the experience of a physical material world. What better setup could be done for the soul, the spirit, the power of consciousness to have an experience in an extended way? That's what we are here for. Something went wrong somewhere. By design or otherwise, we can still examine. But something went wrong, that what was set up as a show and deliberately made into a real show at all levels. All ingredients that were required to make the projected show into a real show were put into place. Rules of nature, laws of physics and science, the grandeur of the unlimited extent of space and time, the grandeur of the minimal size of neurons and molecules, atoms, electrons, the grand scale in which this has been put in is amazing. all designed to make the thing absolutely real. And then to top it all, we have a willing suspension of disbelief about the thing and all begin to believe this is the only reality. Not only that, we shut off all other kind of experiences so that the element of reality should not be lost to us. What great arrangement we made to make this show the very best we could. Where did we go wrong? Only in one thing, that we came to have a good time. Somebody asked me a question recently on an email about Lucifer, the devil. Who is the devil? And in some places he says in the Bible it's quoted that devil is the morning star and so is Christ the morning star. How can both be together? The truth is that the devil was also created by the same totality of consciousness that created the good and the bad both were created. The high and the low both were created from the same source. The negative and the positive both are coming from the same source. In order to heighten the experience of creation, the pairs of opposites and the principle of duality was created. It's an amazing principle that you can experience anything you want in this world because there is an opposite of that. If there was no opposite, you would experience nothing. So the whole world has been designed on this grand principle. And it looks so beautiful when you know how the structure has been made up. And yet, we thought this is the only reality. We forgot this was made up. We forgot it was made for a design, that the reality has been created by us. And we took this as the only reality, got attachment to it, made further desires to get more attached to it, ultimately entangled ourselves with the desires in such a strong way we can't pull away from it. When these enlightened people came, who we call the masters or perfect living masters, when they came and told us that, look, this world is not as real as you think. It's been made real. The process of illusion has been used to create reality. And that illusion has been made into reality deliberately so you can enjoy it. When they came and said, look at the source of it, so that you don't get attached here. If you want to get attached to where your soul is longing all the time for fulfillment. That is own totality inside. When they gave this advice to us to go within, we closed our eyes and thought we are in meditation and saw nothing but darkness. And what kind of game is this? That these masters come and tell us, close your eyes and go within. Within is all darkness. Outside is all wonderful, beautiful, colorful place. Why should we go inside? There is nothing inside. Hence, therefore, going inside. And those who tried seriously to go inside by closing their eyes, they were pulled outside by the attachments that they had created, by the desires that were still unfulfilled outside. Therefore, the whole cycle of experience turned around into believing that the reality was outside and we have just come here for a short experience and we'll die away, the reality will stay here and more people will come and go away. Nobody understood the immortality of consciousness, the very consciousness that sits in each one of us. It doesn't belong to any particular group. It does not belong to any particular person. It does not belong to the perfect living masters. It belongs to all of us, without exception. You'll find right sitting in this small group here, people from all nationalities. They come from all over the world. You find that there are people of all colors, white, black, brown, and all colors in between. People are wearing dresses of all colors. People are speaking languages of all colors. There are Christians here, Hindus here, Muslims here. Even Druze are here. All kinds of people are here. That knowledge, that totality of consciousness which creates everything is not the prerogative of any particular person. It's given to all humanity without exception. There are children here, and there are people up to 91 years old here. There are many people in my age group here. There is no question of any age, any gender, any caste, any nationality, any color of the skin at all in the matter of spirituality. The spiritual longing of the spirit is common to all, and the perfect living masters come to tell us a message for all, that the truth is lying inside you. Therefore, if you have to find it, go inside. We can't find it. It's dark inside. It's bright outside. How do you find the light inside? And why are we not seeing the light? When we close our eyes, why don't we see the light? If you just contemplate for a little while, when you close your eyes, do you know what you're thinking about? Everything outside. How can you see anything inside? You attach yourself to so much things. If you think of each attachment that you have made like a rope that has tied you outside, you are totally entangled with those ropes outside. And even if you start cutting one by one those ropes, in deep meditation, you can take a whole lifetime and not cut those ropes. We are so entangled here. That is why these perfect living masters who realize, because they are working from a different level of consciousness, they have risen to a level of consciousness from where the physical world was created. The patterns of this physical world are being generated somewhere else. This is a copy. It's a copy of those patterns. They can see those patterns. They have risen above that. They have risen to the point where they can see why the mind was constructed and how it is working, how time, space, and this expansion of experience is taking place. They have risen above that. They've seen where the individuation of consciousness took place and create a soul. They've risen to the highest level where they see that there is only one totality of consciousness within which the whole show is taking place. Having that knowledge and awareness and sitting amongst us like an ordinary person with that knowledge and awareness, they come and share their experience with us. They tell us that we are all part of the same, that we have been thrown outside by ourselves, and all we have to do is to reverse the journey. And they say that the Creator, which is our own total self, has made ample provision for us to go back home, to go back to our own totality. What is that provision? What provision has the Creator made for us, or we have ourselves made for ourselves to go back home? First of all, even at the lowest level of a physical creation here, we have been given a remarkable power in our consciousness that we can use, and that power is called the power of attention. We can put our attention wherever we like. That's an amazing power. Supposing you did not have that, and the world just flew around you with no choice what you want to see or what not to see. Whatever came in front of you came, and whatever went away, you could do nothing about it. The life would be just a monotonous show going in front of you and no choice at all to you. By granting the power of attention, it enables you to pick and choose what you want to put your attention on. It enables you to concentrate on one thing or another. It enables you to read books. Otherwise, a book would be just black and white pages going in front of you. By getting the power of attention, you can put your attention on the printed words and read it. By the power of attention, you can talk to a person, look at that person. By the power of attention, you can experience the world with your choice. With the same power of attention, you can withdraw your attention and open the inner door and discover the reality. That's the greatest power. The whole secret of the spiritual discipline of meditation, the spiritual way of going within, is to use your attention properly. All systems of meditation in the world rely upon the power of attention. And then not only that, it's not only attention, it is the power to concentrate that attention wherever you want. That you need not scatter your attention to a wide range. You can pinpoint it to a very narrow area. And the method of discovering who you are, to discover how the show has been opened up outside, all you have to do is to withdraw your attention and concentrate it to the point from where it is originating. It's a very simple formula. To find God, the simplest formula is to go within to the point where you think you're going out from. Where are we going out from? When we look at this world, open our eyes, and we look at the world around us, when we talk to people, when we communicate with them, where are we sitting if we are consciousness and not the body? What part of the body contains that function of ours from where we can throw our attention out and experience everything? A little contemplation will tell you it is not in your hands or your arms or on your rest of the body, it's in your head. You open your eyes, you are looking at the world from behind the eyes. It does not take very long to find out that your source of attention, from where it's flowing, the source of consciousness and awareness, it's flowing is in the head and it's right behind the eyes. You can even imagine, where am I? If I am the source of consciousness, if I am not a being, I am not a body, but I am consciousness, that is the ability to be aware of everything. Where am I operating from? You're not operating from anywhere outside. All the outside is being experienced by you. You're operating within this body. Where in the body? Not all over the body. Only in one specified area. Indeed, in only one specified point. One point behind the eyes, in between the two eyes. That point is so well marked that people have even tried to find the physiology of that point and say whether it's the pituitary gland where we are hanging in, or it's the pineal gland, or it's somewhere in between, it's somewhere in the center. It doesn't matter whether you know anything about the pituitary gland or not. You always know that you are behind the eyes if you are pure elements of consciousness operating to view this universe and to experience this world. Then what is the problem then? If you know you are there, all you have to go is to put your attention back there. What is the difficulty of putting our attention back there? Difficulty we have created by practicing in every life that we have had here, focusing our attention on other things. We have been practicing how to put your attention out on things. We have never practiced anything to pull the attention back. These are exact opposites. If you focus attention on something, you're moving away from yourself. You're moving away from that point, no matter where you focus. We have been taught how to focus attention, that the only use we can make of attention is to focus it on something or the other. Even in meditation, we are told to focus attention on something. And every time we go wrong, because every time, no matter where we focus our attention, we move away from ourselves. The process which perfect living masters tell us is not to focus attention on anything, but to withdraw attention to yourself. The withdrawal of attention is a different process than the focusing of attention. And the withdrawal of attention we have never practiced. And when we try to meditate, the old tendency to put your attention on something keeps on driving us away from our own point of existence, of our point where we operate from. Therefore, the real difficulty of meditation is not the technique of it, not the principle of it, not the knowledge of it. The real problem is we never practiced withdrawal of attention. To withdraw attention is a different process than to put attention anywhere else. If we close our eyes and say, I'm going to look at myself where I'm sitting and make a little picture of myself there, do you know you have moved away from yourself to that little picture you're making? You're not withdrawing your attention. And we spend years and years trying to do meditation, even under appropriate instructions, because it is still moving away from where we are. The truth is, we have to pull back to where we belong, where we are operating from. In this physical body, consciousness does not always reside behind the eyes. It is only behind the eyes when we are awake in a physical state like we are now. It shifts all the time. It's never at the same place because it's not bound by any part of the body. The body is bound by it. The body moves around it, and not that the consciousness is to move anywhere in the body. The consciousness is where we are having an experience, any experience, whether we are looking at things, whether we are dreaming, whether we are in a higher state of consciousness, whether we are in our true home in Sachkhand, no matter where. In the body, we are not bound by any particular position. Why we emphasize this place behind the eyes, often called third eye center, because it's behind the two eyes, is because that is so in the wakeful state. And we get our instructions how to proceed with the techniques of meditation and self-discovery while we are in the wakeful state. We cannot get these instructions anywhere else. Even if we got those instructions at a very high level of consciousness in the astral plane, you cannot follow them unless you come down to the physical plane. There's a reason for that. The reason is that here we don't know the future and we think we have to make a decision. It's programmed like that. And therefore we become seekers and practitioners of something which we cannot be anywhere else. We can only be a practitioner of any science, any discipline while we are in the human body. And that is why it's only in the wakeful state of a human being that you can practice meditation. No other state whatsoever, not even a higher state of consciousness. Now that's a great thing to say. That is why human state of wakefulness has been called the top state of creation next to the totality of creation. It's so important. A human being has been described in the Indian scriptures as created next to God, the Creator himself. And in other disciplines it's been called that man is created in the image of the Creator, of God. Several messages have been sent to us that this is a great opportunity to be human, to be awake in the physical level. That's when you can do all these things. The doors to all perceptions inside, the door to all reality inside can be opened when we are human and we are awake. It cannot be done any other time. Now, when we are human and we are awake, that is the time when notionally we experience this feeling that we are behind the eyes. We want to put ourselves as a miniature point of consciousness. Say, where are we operating from? And just close our eyes. Forget all what is inside the head or not. You will notice that you are behind the eyes, thinking from there, contemplating from there, meditating from there, opening your eyes and seeing from there. Therefore, that point is the natural point at which consciousness or attention is operating in the physical wakeful state. And when you look at things and when you do things, it is from that point that you are throwing your attention out. Therefore, the correct practice of meditation, of discovery of yourself is to withdraw your attention to that point in the wakeful state. When you are awake, if you can pull your attention to the point from where you are throwing it out, you are in very successful meditation. The only handicap we have is that we have been doing too much of throwing our attention out. And that comes in the way all the time. Even when we want to withdraw. Nobody taught us how to withdraw attention. Everybody told us how to focus attention. Here come the perfect living masters telling us how to withdraw attention. And there they have come with very simple methods too, which we don't practice, but they appeal to us. The method is that we have been granted another great power. We don't make too much use of it, called imagination. How do you imagine things? The power of imagination enables you to imagine something anywhere, anytime you want. The power of imagination can make you imagine you are not sitting here, but you're sitting on top of this roof. The power of imagination can make you imagine you are sitting in some other city right now. The power of imagination can make you feel you are standing up and not sitting. The power of imagination can move you around anywhere you like. If that is so, cannot the power of imagination also make you imagine you're sitting at the point behind the eyes? How simple. Therefore, they advise, do not try to put pressure on your attention. That will drive you the same way you have been using it all the time. Therefore, use an alternative device. Use the power of imagination to imagine you are behind the eyes sitting at that point. True meditation consists of having the ability to imagine you're behind the eyes. What happens when you do that? The more you think of being there, the more you concentrate your attention there. Therefore, the concentration of attention and the withdrawal of attention takes place by the simple process of imagining you are behind the eyes. It takes a little practice, of course. All new things take little practice. But with practice, you'll find that the moment you start doing that, and you imagine more and more what's inside my head, where am I? And you do not try to focus yourself anywhere, but try to imagine you are there in the center. The more you do that, and the more your attention is withdrawn from other things, light will appear. Sounds will appear, which you do not hear normally, which are there already, but you don't see them, because the attention all scattered outside. We have attached ourselves, scattered our attention all over. When you imagine you are there, gradually you are forgetting what is outside. And when your whole attention is on imagining that you are in the center of the head, light will fill your head, fill your experience like you have never seen before. It is said, if thine eye be single, thine whole body shall be filled with light. You will see a light you can't imagine ever having seen, and then you'll be able to see it. This light you can't see, you can't face the sun. And inside you can face the light of several suns put together and not have to close your eyes. Those eyes they are seeing inside are not these eyes at all. Those are behind these eyes. Then you discover, much to your surprise sometimes, that you have other eyes also, which are seeing inside. You didn't know you had other eyes also to see. Didn't you know that when you go to sleep and have a dream, you are seeing with some other eyes? Don't you think that when you imagine something, you are seeing with some other eyes? These eyes are not imagining and seeing things. Don't you think that whenever you visualize something, you are seeing with other eyes? Are they not the same eyes that will see the light inside? Do you know how much light those eyes can stand? Do you know if you imagine light, you can imagine more light than you can see with the physical eyes? We have other eyes, we have other ears, we have other hands, we have another body sitting right inside this. We never use it. Actually, we do use it, but very partially. We use it by its superimposition on the physical body. When we see through the physical eyes, we think the physical eyes are seeing. It is our consciousness, wakefulness, that is using the inner eye with a filter of the outer eye that we see outside. If the inner eye is closed and you are not conscious, you can keep these eyes open, you see nothing. You have to be awake. You have to be conscious in order to see with the physical eyes. You have to be conscious and awake to be able to hear with the ears. Therefore, although we think that the physical body is creating these sense perceptions, these sense perceptions are impossible. If the so-called imaginary body inside, the so-called astral body inside, superimposed upon this body is not functioning. Now, if that is not functioning, this body goes to sleep. And that body keeps on having dreams and goes somewhere else. On the other hand, you cannot even have the astral body functioning if your mind is not working. The mind is a constant creator of experience. The mind never stops working. The mind thinks all the time. In words, images, memories, whatever, the mind is never at rest. The mind is like the heartbeat of this physical body. The heart never stops. It works continuously. Let's try today meditation behind the eyes with love and devotion, where you visualize your beloved and you express your love to the beloved in the best way you can and see the results of it. Please assume that your body is your house and you are sitting on the 6th floor of that house behind the eyes. First, establish yourself in the meditation chamber behind the eyes, then visualize your beloved, then start any kind of meditation you want, including Simran, listening to the sound, or conversation with the Master.